All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are going deep into Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
Ooh, yeah.
We are going to be going right to the source for this one.
Absolutely.
Using excerpts from the novel itself to really unravel this famously challenging book.
You know, it's interesting because I think a lot of people hear, oh, we're going to talk about Blood Meridian, and they kind of like recoil.
You know, it's daunting.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's a hard one.
It is.
It is a hard one, but it's also an incredibly rewarding read.
It is.
And I think what's so fascinating about this book is how it shatters the myth of the romanticized West.
Yeah.
You know, it really just plunges us right into the heart of the American frontier in the mid-1800s.
Right.
And this is a period defined by just lawlessness and shocking brutality.
It's not cowboys and saloons like we see in the movie.
This is not a John Ford film.
No.
This is a descent into a world where violence is as commonplace as the sun rising.
Yeah, it really throws you headfirst into this unforgiving landscape right from the beginning.
Right away.
And at the center of this maelstrom is the kid.
The kid.
This young runaway who almost seems kind of ghost-like amidst all this chaos.
Yeah, he's a cipher in many ways.
Yeah, he flees this really bleak existence in Tennessee, only to wind up in the even harsher reality of the Texas frontier.
Right, and the novel opens with this incredibly powerful image of the kid,
Yeah.
you know, described as pale and thin.
Yeah.
Just a boy, really, tending a fire while his drunken father rambles nearby.
Hmm.
Right away, McCarthy is setting the stage for a life devoid of any comfort
Right.
or stability, and kind of hinting at the violence and the deprivation that will shape the kid's jury.
And it's not long before he falls in with a band of Indian scalpers
That's right.
led by the charismatic but utterly terrifying Captain Blanton.
Right, talk about jumping from the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Enter Judge Holden,
Okay, the judge.
a figure who I think really embodies the contradictions at the heart of this novel.
Right.
He's physically imposing, almost mythical in his description.
Yeah.
You know, massive, hairless, with these strange burn marks on his forehead.
Yeah.
McCarthy even tells us he has no ears.
Okay, no ears. That's a detail that just stays with you.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
I mean, what kind of statement is McCarthy making with that, I wonder?
I think he's signaling that the judge exists outside the realm of ordinary men.
Right.
And so this unsettling physicality is then paired with this brilliant mind.
Yeah.
He's a skilled dancer, a musician, a natural scientist.
All while being unbelievably ruthless.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, is he a force of nature, a demon, or something else entirely?
See something other, yeah.
And the novel never explicitly lays out his motivations either,
It doesn't.
which makes him all the more intriguing and, frankly, terrifying.
Right.
What we do see are glimpses of this profound desire for control, a need to understand and dominate the world around him.
He wants to know everything.
Yeah, and war, it seems, is his chosen instrument.
It seems so.
Right? There's that chilling line where he calls war the truest form of divination.
Yes.
It's as if he sees violence as some kind of cosmic principle,
Right.
the driving force behind all of human history.
Exactly. And it goes even deeper than that because
Okay.
he refers to war as God,
Oh, wow.
right? Implying this worldview that's fundamentally nihilistic.
Yeah,
The belief that life is ultimately meaningless.
yeah.
Remember that line, anything is possible.
Yeah.
It's delivered with this chilling conviction,
Hmm.
suggesting a world without any moral boundaries, where chaos just reigns supreme.
It's heavy stuff.
It's heavy stuff.
And that nihilism, it seems to just permeate every aspect of the novel. It's not just the judge's philosophy, it's woven into the fabric of this brutal world that McCarthy creates.
Right, it's the air they breathe.
Yeah.
And the violence that McCarthy depicts is unrelenting.
It's tough to read sometimes.
It is. It's almost unbearable at times.
Yeah.
There's one scene where the kid stumbles upon babies hanged from a tree.
Yeah.
An image of just pure horror that challenges you to reconcile the judge's bleak pronouncements with the reality of this world.
It really does. It makes me question whether the judge, as twisted as he is, might actually have a point. Is violence truly the defining force in human existence?
Yeah.
And does the kid, despite these moments of apparent compassion,
Yeah.
ultimately reinforce that view through his own actions?
It's a question that lingers.
It does.
It's through these questions that I think McCarthy forces us to confront the darkest aspects of human nature.
Yeah.
He doesn't shy away from the ugliness, and in doing so, he challenges us to consider whether there's any escape from this cycle of brutality.
Right, right.
And what's so unsettling, you know, is that the judge embodies these, like, stark contradictions.
Yeah.
He can be meticulously documenting the natural world one minute,
Right.
driven by this seemingly like childlike curiosity,
Yeah.
then orchestrate a brutal massacre the next.
It's almost as if he sees himself as a kind of scientist,
Yeah.
conducting these experiments, but with human lives as his subjects.
Hmm.
And violence in his mind becomes the ultimate tool for imposing order on a world that he perceives as inherently chaotic.
Yeah, he even refers to these horrific scalp hunting expeditions as, adventures or enterprises,
Right.
as if they're some kind of grand undertaking,
It's chilling, isn't it?
It is.
There's that scene where the gang encounters a group of peaceful Chilenos Indians.
Right.
And instead of seeing their peaceful existence as something to admire
Yeah.
or respect, the judge actually encourages Glanton to slaughter them.
Exactly. That scene, I think, is pivotal because it reveals the depths of the judge's depravity.
Yeah.
He sees the Chilenos, who represent this kind of harmony with the nature,
Right.
as obstacles to his own twisted vision. Their innocence is a threat to his worldview.
And what's the kid's reaction to all of this?
Yeah.
I mean, he's witnessing these horrors firsthand. How is this shaping him?
Yeah, the kid is caught in this horrifying push and pull.
Yeah.
He's clearly repulsed by the judge's actions.
Yeah.
But there's also this strange fascination,
Okay.
a recognition of the power that the judge wields. It's as if he sees a dark reflection of himself in the judge,
Right.
someone who's fully embraced the potential for violence that the kid himself might be struggling to repress.
It makes you wonder if he sees the judge as some kind of twisted mentor figure.
It's possible.
Yeah, someone who holds the key to navigating this brutal world.
There's that scene where the judge actually teaches the kid how to dance.
Oh, yeah?
It's almost like a symbolic passing of the torch, an initiation into this world of violence and immorality.
Right.
But what's crucial, I think, is that the kid never fully succumbs to the judge's influence.
Right.
He remains morally ambiguous throughout the novel,
Yeah.
capable of both compassion and brutality.
Right. He's not just a mindless follower.
No.
There are these glimpses of humanity that peek through these moments where he acts with kindness or empathy,
Yeah.
suggesting he hasn't entirely lost himself.
Exactly. The kid's internal struggle, I think, is central to the novel's exploration of the human capacity for both good and evil.
Right.
He's forced to confront the darkness within himself and grapple with the question of whether he can escape the cycle of violence that surrounds him.
And the struggle comes to a head in that final encounter between the kid and the judge,
Oh, yeah.
which is one of the most unsettling and ambiguous scenes in the entire book.
Oh, the outhouse scene.
Yes.
After surviving the massacre at the Yuma Ferry, the kid finds himself face to face with the judge,
Yeah.
who's been waiting for him all along.
Right.
What's so chilling is the judge's demeanor.
Yeah.
He's calm, almost jovial, as if this confrontation was inevitable.
The whole scene is drenched in this sense of dread.
Uh-huh.
And that final line, "He never sleeps," it's just bone-chilling.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests that the judge is this eternal force of malevolence.
Right.
Something that can never be truly defeated.
It leaves you with this profound sense of unease.
It does.
A feeling that the darkness the judge embodies will continue to exist regardless of what happens to the kid.
It's as if McCarthy is saying that violence is woven into the very fabric of existence.
Yeah.
And no matter how hard we try, we can't escape its shadow.
But remember, Blood Meridian doesn't offer easy answers.
Right.
It challenges us to confront the complexity of good and evil,
Yeah.
the allure of power, and the possibility that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there might be a glimmer of hope for redemption.
So as we delve deeper into these characters, let's explore the judge a bit further.
Okay.
He's this enigma at the heart of the story.
Yeah.
And understanding him, I think, is key to unlocking the novel's disturbing brilliance.
Right.
Where do we even begin?
Let's start with his seemingly insatiable thirst for knowledge.
Okay.
He's constantly collating specimens, making meticulous drawings in his journals,
Yeah.
almost like he's trying to document and catalog the entirety of creation.
Yeah, that always struck me as odd.
Uh-huh.
You'd think someone so obsessed with knowledge would be driven by a desire for understanding,
Right.
for enlightenment. But with the judge, it almost seems to have the opposite effect.
Right. It's as if his pursuit of knowledge only reinforces his nihilistic view of the world. He's trying to quantify and categorize the chaos, but ultimately he concludes that it's all meaningless.
So is that the source of his brutality then?
Yeah.
This sense that nothing matters, that there are no consequences?
It's certainly part of it,
Yeah.
but I think there's also a deeper psychological element at play.
Okay.
The judge seems to derive a perverse pleasure from violence. He doesn't just inflict pain.
Yeah.
He revels in it.
It's like he sees violence as a creative force.
Right.
A way to shape and mold the world according to his own twisted vision.
And his pronouncements on war?
Yeah.
His claim that it's the ultimate expression of human potential
Right.
are deeply disturbing.
It's almost as if he sees war as the only thing that gives meaning to human existence. Everything else is just a prelude to this grand, chaotic dance of destruction.
And this is where his character becomes truly terrifying.
Right.
He's not just a brutal killer, he's an ideologue who believes that violence is the defining principle of the universe.
And that ideology has a powerful influence on those around him,
Yeah.
especially the kid.
Exactly. The kid is caught in the judge's orbit, drawn to his power even as he's repulsed by his actions.
Right.
It's a complex dynamic that I think forces us to confront the allure of darkness
Yeah.
and the struggle to maintain our humanity in the face of overwhelming brutality.
Yeah, it's like he's this dark philosopher, you know? But instead of seeking wisdom, he's trying to justify his own bloodlust.
Right.
You mentioned earlier that he sees himself as a scientist.
Uh-huh.
And that's such a fascinating point because if you think about it,
Yeah.
the scientific method is all about observation, experimentation, and drawing conclusions based on evidence.
Exactly, and for the judge, violence becomes his experiment. He's testing the limits of human nature, probing the boundaries of morality and meaning, but instead of finding the answers,
Right.
he seems to find confirmation of his own nihilistic beliefs.
It's like he's seeking proof that the universe is as cold and indifferent as he believes it to be,
Right,
and every act of brutality, every life extinguished,
yeah.
becomes another data point in his twisted experiment.
It's all data to him.
And the kid witnessing all of this
Yeah,
is forced to confront those same questions.
right.
Can you really find meaning in a world where violence reigns supreme? Is there any escape from the darkness that seems to just permeate everything?
Big questions.
Those questions are never really fully answered, are they?
They're not, no.
McCarthy leaves us with this lingering sense of unease,
Yeah.
a feeling that the cycle of violence might be inescapable. But there's also this glimmer of hope,
Yeah,
this suggestion that the kid might represent something different,
right.
a flicker of humanity that refuses to be extinguished.
Remember, the kid never fully embraces the judge's worldview.
Right.
He struggles with it, pushes back against it,
Yeah.
and ultimately his fate is left ambiguous. McCarthy doesn't tell us whether he succumbs to the darkness or finds a way to transcend it.
That ambiguity is what makes Blood Meridian so powerful.
Absolutely.
It forces you to confront the same moral dilemmas that the characters face,
Yeah.
to grapple with the complexities of good and evil, and to question your own assumptions about the world.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finished reading it.
It does.
And one of the things I find myself thinking about
Yeah.
is the judge's obsession with collecting bones.
Oh, yeah.
He meticulously gathers and catalogs these remnants of death,
Yeah.
filling his journals with these detailed drawings and observations.
What do you make of that? Is it just another expression of his scientific curiosity?
Yeah.
Or is there something deeper going on?
I think it speaks to his desire for control,
Okay.
his need to impose order on the chaos of existence.
Mm.
By collecting and documenting these fragments of mortality,
Yeah.
he's trying to assert his dominance over death itself.
It's almost like he's trying to conquer death
Yeah,
by reducing it to data points,
right.
to specimens in his macabre collection.
And perhaps on a deeper level, it reflects his own fear of oblivion. The judge, for all his nihilistic pronouncements,
Right.
seems terrified of the very thing he claims to believe in,
Yeah.
the ultimate meaninglessness of existence.
So what are we left with at the end of all this?
Yeah.
What are we supposed to take away from this brutal, challenging,
Right.
and ultimately ambiguous tale?
I think Blood Meridian is a reminder that the human heart is a battleground,
Yeah.
where good and evil are constantly at war. It forces us to confront the darkest impulses within ourselves.
Right.
And to question the stories we tell ourselves about the nature of violence and the meaning of existence.
It's a book that challenges us to find our own moral compass. In a world where those boundaries seems increasingly blurred,
For sure.
and perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there's always a flicker of hope, a possibility for redemption, however elusive it might be.
I think that's a great point.
So, as you delve into the pages of Blood Meridian,
Yeah.
pay close attention to the details, these seemingly insignificant moments that often reveal these profound truths about the characters and the world they inhabit.
Right.
And don't be afraid to grapple with the uncomfortable questions that the novel raises.
That's right. right.
Blood Meridian isn't a book that offers easy answers,
No, it's not.
but it's a journey well worth taking.
It is.
One that will leave you with a deeper understanding of both the darkness and the light that reside within us all.
Absolutely. A 22 would Eric.